Ladies, gents, boys and girls, hello and welcome back once again for another episode of CasualCraft. This is episode 18 now and I'm your host RedRipz. We're here once again on Derelict Watcher, the ladder map. And yeah, this is my 18th cast now. It's quite a lot of fun I've been having. It's been pretty good. Now we're back here again on the bottom left hand corner of this map here in the red with DJHelium. The guy that sent me this, well, I say sent me this replay I found on the internet. I've casted a couple of his replays now, and it's been quite nice. Nice seeing some recurring faces here again. So yeah, with that we've got him in the bottom left-hand corner of this map, and up in the top right we have InZaNe, the Terran player in blue here. He's not familiar to me, but well, you know, only so many players are. So yeah, so as I say, we're back here again on Derelict Watcher, which is not one of my favourite maps, to be honest. I really like this tile set, but this don't particularly like the map as a sort of a whole. I mean, there's a lot of space I find on this map to get some nice wide engagements as a Zerg player, so that's quite good in that respect. But there's just too much space. I feel like it's almost a little bit dull as a map. I feel like they've sort of taken Star Station and gone, what we'll do is we'll cut everything out the middle, hack both corners off the map where the other two spawn positions are, and then we'll just make a two-player version. Big thumbs up. Yeah, and with that in mind, we've got DJHelium moving up the map now. He's not yet put any buildings down, I don't think, because his spawn pool hasn't gone down yet. He had a little extractor trick there at the start just to help him get the extra drones out nice and early. And with that, he'll be getting in past InZane's barracks here, assuming he does that before the supply depot comes down to fill this little gap. And that'll give him some nice early scouting information here on our Terran player, InZaNe. Now, if I remember right, both players are in Master League. So we should be seeing some relatively high-level play out of these guys here today. Which is obviously great. So yeah, I've been you know finished work for the week now. I'm here, sat drinking my tea, having quite a nice time. It's all very chillaxed. And DJHelium there, you might notice, went for a 15 hatchery. This is obviously a hatch first build. Unless you're cheesing, it's pretty much the crack now. It's either that or you pull down first, which obviously is put down directly behind that. So I think that was 15 hatch and then 15 pull, possibly. I didn't quite catch the exact timings, but it's around that sort of time. Very sort of standard Zerg play there, nothing too out of the ordinary here for our DJHelium as he gets out his extractor now, and will also be basically just droning up, getting his stuff together. Meanwhile, at the top, InZane's got down his barracks now. He's getting out a couple of Reapers here. These guys should be coming in, doing some early scouting. A lot of the problems with early Reaper pressure have sort of been solved now, or at least players have learned to deal with them again after the barrenness of the Reaper in Wings of Liberty. Because of course, after they got so heavily kind of messed with, in the sense that you had to, I think it was, you didn't used to be able to build a. You didn't used to be able to build a. You used to be able to build a barracks straight away at the start, but then they made it so you had to build it after a supply depot, which for some reason made Reapers completely inviable. And they were a unit that I saw a little bit here and there when I was playing the game originally, but it wasn't really anything. They never really. I don't know. They never struck me as too much of a problem since they made that kind of timing nerf there, which didn't allow the Reapers to really do much. Whereas the new Reaper, I really like. They've made it a lot weaker, so it's not too strong to have them out within the timing. They're also quite cheap, and you don't need a reactor for them, which is just all good stuff. And I don't even think you need I don't think they've got any upgrades anymore. You just straight up build them, and they're as good as they get. Of course, they do also have a really good health regen system on them, which is great and allows them to harass. As you're seeing here, they can basically just pick in and out, and as long as they're kept alive, they can just come back for more every 30 seconds or so. It's really effective, especially early game. Obviously, I mean, like they tail off pretty quickly as a unit into the mid game here. Remember, we've seen a little bit of pressure on InZane's natural here. Although this isn't really going to do that much. It's more of an annoyance than anything. Although it is forcing him to actually pull his Reapers back here, since he's not built any Marines yet. He's been getting down his reactor here, which we will put the factory on. So we'll be reactoring out some sort of units with this factory. I'd imagine it'll be Widow Mines, since they're the current popular option. But obviously Hellions are a choice there as well. Yeah, we're getting Hellions out straight away there. That's absolutely, you know, perfectly reasonable thing to do against Zerg players. As I always say about the AoE effects against like drone lines and stuff, it's beautiful. You basically run by with Hylians in very much the same way as you would with Zerglings. They dart in quick as they can, roast the crap out of everything, and then bugger off hopefully before the defending player can get any sort of response in, which is, you know, ideal for the attacking player. So that's fine. Meanwhile, Helium's got down. He's got Zerg speed down. Yeah, he's finished up his Zerg speed there. His third base has gone down. Macro, all very nice. Nothing too out of the ordinary there for him. Meanwhile, InZaNe at the top right hand corner of the map now, we're moving out with his Hellions and also his Reapers there at the front. Let's have to just have a little watch and see what these guys can do. Now, there's a lot of this sort of thing is about micro, really. You've got to obviously keep up your actual pressure in the background, like sorry, your economy in the background. So you've got to continue doing all the SCVs and getting upgrades and putting new buildings down and generally developing everything. But when you've got a really small force like this with just 2 or 3 Hellions and like a couple of Reapers, obviously micro is absolutely paramount for that sort of thing. As actually, it's a bunch of Lings have wandered straight into InZane's base here. He's not really even able to defend that at this stage because his units are out on the map. That's a really nice move by DJHelium. I like that. Just wandering in, taking the chance while the units of InZaNe are out on the map to get some Lings in there and do a little bit of damage, cause some problems, stop there being any pressure on his base as well. Because that's often the thing. You've only got so many units, so you can either pressure your opponent or defend your own base. So when you move out like that with forces such as this, you can very quickly just have a bunch of Lings in the front of your base, and that's obviously not a good thing to have to deal with as any player, never mind being particularly a Terran, which is particularly horrible, especially if it takes out your mules, because the mules obviously are time limited according to the energy on command centers here. Because essentially you build your command center, you turn it into an orbital command, and then you use the energy to call down mules, which mine really fast and are basically the driving force of the Terran economy in the late game. Meanwhile, we're seeing InZaNe move out across the map again. He's going to have a nice little poke up this front ramp of DJHelium here. Meanwhile, Helium's actually got a couple of Evos down at the front here, which just close the gap right up and should allow him to wall off correctly, should this force try and push in at all. Because the last thing you want really is your the Hellions and your drone line there. Obviously the Lings are getting a little bit fried in response there with the trying to push the Hellions back off the creep, and they will have to defend this Queen, I imagine, as the Queen will be wandering around putting down these extra creep tumors. And obviously while they're still spawning, the creep tumor can be seen by the opposing player, so he will have to defend that Queen there if InZaNe decides to push in at all. Now in InZaNe's base, we're seeing more refineries coming down. We're seeing the Marauders start coming out now as well. Obviously he's got the tech lab down there as well. He's getting the upgrades for that. He's actually finished Stim now, so that's good. Meanwhile, we've got a starport coming out, so we've got three barracks. We've got the factory and a starport and double eBay. So yeah, we're taking quite a relatively greedy build here, actually, I'd say, out of InZaNe there. And he probably could have come out with his third orbital command slightly sooner and moved that onto the map with it if it was a true insanely greedy build. But the double eBay is always a sign of bio, because well, why else would you get it? And obviously, like with this many buildings coming down, I'd expect to see the traditional sort of Marine Marauder Medivac with probably Widow Mines in behind it as well. As what else are you going to build from the factory other than Widow Mines, really? I mean, yes, you can get out Hellions and things like that, but in a Bioforce, the Widow Mines make a lot of sense because you can kind of park the Widow Mines in front of your army, and then as the Zerg player tries to come in and grab your army, I mean, you put the Widow Mines down in front of it, and then you move your army out across them and back again to draw a few of the Zerg players' units in at a time, and that usually will trigger the mines and blow up anything that comes in after them. It's really annoying to deal with the automatic aggro of other units, and basically it just allows you your death ball of Marine Marauder Medivac to stay alive much easier. You can sit behind the mines and use them for cover in much the same way you would in a Marine tank force, only obviously the Widow Mines are a little bit more durable in that respect because they don't really get caught out by air units or anything like that. They're also a lot cheaper to make, and you don't have to worry quite as much about the whole sieging up thing. I mean, yes, they do have a burrow activation time, which is a pain in the arse to deal with, but you obviously can get the upgrade with the tunneling clause, which takes it down to a second. I can't remember the name of the actual upgrade, but it's basically it allows them to burrow much quicker, and that will essentially be damn good thing for the Widow Mine use. And obviously we're seeing an armory coming out behind this now as well, so I think that's where the Widow Mine upgrade actually is, if I recall correctly. Can't actually remember entirely, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in there. And this will also allow him to build Hellbats, of course, so we might well see some Hellbats out here out of InZaNe as well, which would be really nice, to be honest, because obviously with the Medivacs being able to heal them, they do fit in really well in a Bioforce despite their mechanical nature, so it's quite handy in that respect. Meanwhile, of course, Zerg base, we're seeing the Spire come out here. This is actually a really dangerous place to build a Spire, right on the front ramp like that, because obviously the Terran player could just sort of charge in and kill that without too much ease. The Banelings are coming in, will they connect? Oh, that was quite a nice connection there for DJHelium there, as the Banelings just rolled on in on the creep, and engaging Banelings on creep is such a nightmare for Terran players because you just have so much less time to try and split your units up. And as he drops the rest of his army back on the edge of this creep here and he'll just be healing that up, he's really going to have to be careful as the Lings come back in for another little assault here, and all those Marines are going to fall for that single Baneling that came in. This is a real pain in the arse here for InZaNe as he loses basically the main butt of his army there at the front. Meanwhile, I've got a Queen just poking these Medivacs away, making sure that InZaNe actually gets rid of them. Which is obviously very nice of him. Meanwhile, let's have a little look. We're rebuilding our force at the front here. Yeah, we've got loads of Widow Mines coming out here for InZaNe, so we'll be seeing the 4Ms play here for him, which is naturally Marine Marauder Medivac, and now Widow Mines as well have entered the fray. Basically, I think anything that's Terran that begins with an M can usually be put together. It's pretty much across the board. Mule force, you know, just build 30 orbital commands and drop a whole army of mules in as bad manners, basically, is why you would do that. Now, DJHelium's build has been quite nice so far. He's obviously got his macro hatch down here in his main base, so I think he'll be sticking with the Ling Baneling for a while, as obviously you get so much more lava out of these extra hatcheries, is that you can stick with the mass cheap units. And this is all very traditional stuff. We're seeing the typical sort of Ling Baneling composition at the moment, with the mutant support on top, and as the mutant count builds up, those medivacs will have to be protected really carefully, otherwise they will just fall to these little assaults like this. And exactly as you saw there, the Banelings just roll in across the Marines, and it's such a strong composition against Bio. It's very, very difficult to deal with. You do really need the Widow Mines to help protect you against this sort of thing, because otherwise it just all falls on its face. And even here with the Widow Mines going off, the Terran's army is already amongst the Widow Mines as they're going off, and they do friendly fire damage so easily, which is just an absolute ball ache for Terran players, because they naturally just will take so much damage as the Lings run in. So you have to sit like behind them rather than on top of them. When you're playing that kind of composition, tends to be the way to do it. Now we've got a couple of Marines there at the front. I guess they're just, I didn't even realise they were there, to be honest. Burrowed Zergling there. Now as DJHelium will be getting up his 5th base here, he's actually completely mined out, I think, his main, has he? No, God no, he's just got a metric shit ton of drones here across 4 bases now, as his 5th comes down as well. So as they'll start to mine out, they'll start transferring them across, but I wouldn't imagine we'll see too many more drones here out of DJHelium, mostly because he just simply has enough now. If we just have a quick look at the workers' kill count there, there's really not that much difference between the players. Neither player has really managed to get into each other's base yet at this stage. I mean, there was a few at the start with those early Lings, but with this huge number of Banelings coming out now, I'd really expect DJHelium to be moving out into this Bioforce pretty soon. As why else would he suddenly spawn a lot of Banelings unless he was planning some sort of attack, I imagine, as we're seeing here. Now, I'm a little bit interested here as to how InZane's going to try and deal with this. Now, his 3rd base is still looking strong. He's not mined out anything much, really. I mean, his main's starting to dwindle now, so he will need to move into that 4th base there, but he is a little bit behind in respect of bases, so he does have some catching up to do here in that respect. And it kind of does go to show that those early SCVs falling and that little bit of pressure was really, really strong there from DJHelium, as it's actually managed to put InZaNe behind for a good portion of the game here. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been some excellent Baneling connections which have really gone through the Bioforce, but those early SCVs falling, absolutely brilliant there for InZaNe here, as both players are actually now going for 3-3 upgrades. We're also seeing the 3 attack upgrades out of Helium there, so I'd imagine we'll be seeing some late game ultralists here, as the Bioforce is actually going to get absolutely crushed here by DJHelium's army there, as half the army was missing, and the Banelings were about to just roll right over it, and as the rest of those troops go down there, this is an absolute pain here for InZaNe to deal with. So many of his troops have fallen, but it's the issue with Banelings, is that if you build too many Banelings, you end up with very little Lings left to actually continue and clear up the damage now, as InZane's actually just going to completely finish clearing this up here, so long as he actually moves his troops towards this there. We are seeing little mini run-bys here again in the 4th base here of InZaNe, so these will do some damage, but with the Bioforce there to clear it up, it shouldn't do too much. I don't think we saw an ICV fall there, I'm not entirely sure, just the one. So that's really not that bad there for InZaNe. He did manage to clear that up quite nicely. It was a little bit irritating that the force fell quite as heavily as it did, but he's still got quite a lot left, which is a very nice position to be in here, as the first ultralists are now popping out, as I thought, here out of DJHelium. So we're seeing again, this is all very standard against Terrans, I'll be honest. Ling Bling Muta is the Zerg composition to be using at the moment. It's against Zergs, against Terrans, and even against Protoss it works particularly well. I mean, less so Banelings. It tends to be a sort of more Roach Hydra force at the moment. It seems to be the popular way to beat it, as you can then tech into swarm hosts, which allow you to essentially just keep the Protoss army at bay. Of course, those mass Lings just died straight up to those mines there. That was a real pain for Helium there. Although now he's got the Overseer over, we should be able to clear a lot of those up, and the Ultralists will be coming in behind us. Now, there's not that many Marauders here for InZaNe, so most of his army is going to get cleared up there. And really, at this point, he needs to be teching at the mass Marauders if he wants to stand a chance of being able to beat off these Ultralists, because with so much armor that they have, and I think he's just about to get the 5 armor upgrade there for the Ultralist, which is just going to make them completely ridiculous. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that come out now, as our Terran player does once again spawn a whole bunch more Banelings. Ling Baneling Muta with Ultras in the late game. As I say, the composition to be using against Bio. You can just hug all these Marines all day long, and they die. They don't like hugs from Ultralists for some reason. I mean, I can kind of see why. It's got sort of a size issue there, but really it's not that bad. No, even better, adrenal glands we're seeing out of DJHelium. This upgrade is forgotten so commonly by Zerg players, so it's really nice to see him getting this upgrade. Now this basically makes your Zerglings ridiculous. They go from being really good to being just fucking insanely damaging. So with the 3/3 upgrades and the 25% extra, is it 25 or is it 20? I can't remember quite. 20%, sorry. With the 20% attack speed upgrade, that's literally 20% more damage for every Zergling that gets into combat. It's beautiful. Yeah, as a Zerg player, I really like seeing that when that comes out there. So that's really good to see. Now we're seeing a little bit of backward and forward here between both players. As both players are maxed out now, so we should be expecting to see some moving out here. Although Helium has actually managed to clear up this this drop as it tried to come in there, and the Widowmines there are actually just there to do that exactly. If our Zerg friend tried to move out at all, he'd be struggling there. Now we're seeing a little drop in the base here for InZaNe, as he will be taking down the main base there of DJHelium by InZaNe. Sorry, as it looks like he will be able to take down this hive. If he can just focus it down there, perhaps before the ultras get here. Oh, not quite. That's unfortunate there for InZaNe. I did think he might have a really good chance of taking down that, which would have been such a massive loss there for InZaNe. I mean, yes, he does have most of his late game stuff out now, but if he then could somehow, if InZaNe could then somehow find a way to take out DJHelium's Ultralist Den as well, wherever it is, there it is, to take out the Ultralist Den as well, that would slow down his reproduction of Ultras so much, as he'd have to build up a layer and then basically a hive again to then get your Ultralists out. It'd be such a pain in the arse, basically. So yeah, as we're seeing here now, looks like InZaNe will be trying to push up this ramp once again here, and it's a really tight little spot there, which is actually quite good for him in that respect, because you don't really want to get the surround on. Gets completely surrounded by the Zergling army here. Although actually with this huge flank of Ultralists going on here, it doesn't look like there's really much InZaNe could do there, apart from just pull back and try and pick as many troops up as he can before he gets out of there. It's just, God, it's such a shame there. The amount of Ultralisks is just overwhelming here for DJHelium here, as he will be pushing back this attack once again. Now he does need to be careful here with his Widowmines. I mean, they're not going to instantly kill any Ultralisks, but if they get a good hit off on those Banelings, it's going to be a real problem there for DJHelium, is that's quite a lot of gas there to invest in that sort of thing. Now at the top here for InZaNe, we've got an extra command centre out now. I'd imagine we'll be turning that into an orbital command soon as well. The planetary fortress here just to help defend this against run-bys. All very nice stuff, very nice. Seeing continued Marine Mortar Middlemine production. It's all very nice, to be honest. I think he'll probably just be generally just just building army now and just desperately trying to drop his way past this. Now I've seen a lovely little wall of planetary fortresses here across the front here. I really like this. This essentially defends all of InZaNe's bases at the top of the map. That's 1, 2, 3 bases. From any sort of ground pressure, as the Zerg player can't really get past those without engaging them. I think, to be honest, the best way to do any sort of engagement, if you had to, would be to approach from either the top here or down the bottom, because then you're only going to have to engage 2 rather than the 3rd planetary fortress, and then once you've pushed through, just go straight on past and ignore the other 2. However, we will see what DJHelium does decide to do here, is he is now going to spot these things and just go, oh my god, what the hell are these doing here? This is like the Ultras will just be coming in, trying to eat as much of these as they can, but I actually don't think we're going to see that. We might see 1 or 2 fall there, but I think we can. Where's the Town player's arm gone here? He's moving down from the top there. Actually, yeah, we're going to see all of these fall here. Sorry, I thought the Town had his arm much closer than this, so just like DJHelium will be completely clearing so. And that's, oh my goodness, that's really painful for InZaNe there, as he's put so much money into getting this nice defensive wall up, and it's just fallen straight away as his army was in completely the wrong position, and he ended up just getting completely caught out by that. As he will be clearing the rest of this army of DJHelium here, but. With the way Helium's playing here, it's really quite special there for InZaNe to manage to be able to, well, just fight that off, because of just the sheer problems he was having with a massive amount of Ultralists. Although with those Ultralists falling now, we're going to take a while for Helium to find his way back into the game in that respect. So we're getting 9 more Ultralists out there. Obviously that's a lot. He's got so much gas and minerals built up now. It's going to be a real problem for InZaNe here. Although they do take a while to build, and we're going to actually get them out at the top of the map. So they're not really going to be helping this little conflict here at the moment. And it does look like all these missile turrets will be filling up, finishing up, which should allow InZaNe to completely defend this base against any sort of Mutalist pressure such as this massive death ball of Mutalisks that we're seeing right here. Meanwhile, I've got a cheeky expansion here out of DJHelium at the top left of the map, which again I really like. He's a cheeky player, this guy. He's getting so many bases out all over the map, and he's actually defending them really well. The Terran player hasn't been able to get that much pressure in. I mean, there was a few little drops here and there, but it hasn't really taken anything. He's not actually pushed anything back here, as the Mutas will be just taking down this debris here to get through once again into the 5th base here of InZaNe. So yeah, this is all looking very sexy there, very sexy for DJHelium. Now InZaNe's going to be moving out across the map here. I'd imagine he'd be getting some scans down, trying to clear out some of this creep spread here, as the creep spread is getting a little bit dangerously close to the front of his base here. And he doesn't really want to keep advancing on this when he's got this sort of army around him here, because this is just going to go straight through this. On creep as well, you can just run straight up and engage like this, and oh my goodness, DJHelium, you're getting such a nice engagement out of this. I mean, it's not ideal because of the way that the army was in a nice long line, you have to spread down the side, but like with the way that all these ultralists are coming through and like the sheer size of the force against this really compacted bio in like such a short long line like that, it meant the AoE of DJHelium's units could get really far ahead there, and that was nice. I liked that a lot. So yeah, we've seen a watchtower at the top now of InZaNe there. We'll be watching for any sort of movement around the top, obviously, which is a good idea after the debris gone there, which should allow him to keep slightly more control of the map. He'll obviously know that these mutalisks are here now, as we can see his army is responding to that, which is good news for him, because otherwise all this would be dead. And to be honest, at this rate, I think there'll be a lot of damage done anyway. If we can just maybe get some micro on that, just some stepping back. No, not quite. We're just going to push straight into the main base here of InZaNe, as DJHelium is just absolutely walking over the face of him at the moment with these mutalisks. It's a real pain in the arse. And meanwhile, at the bottom, near the natural here, we're seeing a big sort of ultralisk army here with the queen support now. Obviously, the queens that are there to heal up the ultralisks because they've got so much health that you can just sit and transfuse them all day, and they will survive against absolutely bloody anything. I mean, I remember seeing one game once where we had, I think you had one ultralisk I was watching, and there's about 10 queens, and they were all just transfusing the single ultralisk, and it just took out an entire bioforce on its own. It was, I almost said OP, but it was, it's just ridiculous. Right? It's really great fun. So this does like this ultralisk force will be pushing now into this base here of InZaNe here at the top, well, the 11 o'clock position of the map there. Unfortunately, actually, a lot of those overseers will be falling there, which is really irritating. But it does look like this whole base will be going down here, as the bioforce does actually come into the back of DJHelium's ultralisks here. I don't think there's much that InZaNe can really do here to stop this at this stage, as the base has fallen. A lot of the SCVs there fell as well, and to be honest, he's got most of his ultralisks left. I think just keep moving, and get past these queens, which are so slow off creep. I know they're practically disabled off creep. And meanwhile, I've got obviously the mutalisks in the fourth base of InZaNe there. They're just going to be getting pushed away again, but I think they got quite a lot of SCVs down while InZaNe was busy dealing with the other ultralisk attack there. Now, generally this is just harass out of DJHelium, which is exactly what he needs to be doing throughout the whole game, to be honest. That's how you stay on top of players such as InZaNe here, who's got this great big bio death ball. If he can, to be honest, InZaNe, if he split this up in some way and did a few little drops here and there, it probably wouldn't hurt him too much. I mean, obviously you can't really drop bases like this with this number of spine crawlers in, but smaller bases like, oh, this one's there's not really that much there, now it's mining out, and to be honest, actually most of these other bases are starting to mine out as well. But like little drops, you get things like the Spire taken out, anything like that earlier in the game. I mean, I still really don't like that Spire position, just like randomly on the edge of the third base it seems like a really risky place to put it. Perhaps I'm missing a trick there, but it's not something I like at all, I'll be honest. So it's just really risky. But if InZaNe can't get out of his base because of Helium keeping him in, such as the way that he has been, it's really quite difficult there for InZaNe to do anything much other than just try and defend everything. And obviously this base pretty much is going to just get away unmolested. I mean, we'll be losing the odd couple of mutalisks here to the missile turrets in the bunker, but to be honest, if he microed that a bit better and moved at the top, he might have been getting a lot more out of that rather than losing all his mutalisks. But never mind, building more mutalisks. We're getting 21 more banelings out, another 3 ultralisks coming down. I think we're going to see a final assault here out of DJHelium before too long here. His supply actually has dropped now below InZane's here, so it is a little bit more even than I perhaps thought there. Let's have a look at the workers' kill count there, and in fact, yeah, in that respect, DJHelium is miles and miles ahead there, as he basically has just been continually harassing and taking out these bases of Helium here. Now, the planetary fortress, obviously, he's going to hold this. It's very difficult for Zerglings to take out planetary fortresses at the best of the times, especially when you've got a whole wall of SCVs like that doing some really nice repairing there. Now, InZane's actually moved out the bottom of the map here, and he's going to be taking out the 7th, the manyth base, the nth base of DJHelium there, and also another base down the bottom. And this is actually really damaging here for Helium, as these were 2 of the bases that he's going to be mining the most in the next few minutes. So that will be cutting out his economy, and although he does have quite a big like backlog of minerals and gas there, he's going to be struggling to get more of an economy out of this, as his 3-4 bases are completely mined out here, and he's just going to have to do something about this, and hopefully get some more bases down, as there's really not much in the way of an economy for him at the moment, as the top base is already all fallen as well. We're really just seeing pressure from all sides here again by InZaNe, which is really nice. It's a nice sort of return to play there for InZaNe after he's been held in his base for so long by Helium and forced to run backwards and forwards along the map. InZane's actually managed to bring this back a little bit by just pushing in like this and just taking out these bases. Now, if you can get an engagement like this as well, you're going to get through so many ultralisks there as they just walk up the ramp in a completely straight line. The sheer number of marauders in amongst this is just going to really damage these guys. But unfortunately, with the flanking ultralisk here and like just the sheer number of ultralisks, there's just not much you can really do against that as with a bioforce. I mean, I think essentially the best thing you can really do is just go mass marauder and then just try and micro the crap out of them. Because really, I mean, what else can you do with a bioforce against ultralisks there? The Marines don't do enough damage unless, I mean, obviously you've got to micro the crap out of them, but like the compared to what the Marauders can do, they don't do enough. And like the other aspects of Bioforce, like Widow Mines and stuff, just don't do anything against Ultralisks, because Ultralisks just don't take much damage from them. I mean, well, they do take a lot of damage from them, but like when you've got 500 health, it's really not that much, especially with a wall of queens hanging around with them as well, who are just sitting there transfusing the Ultras all day long. Meanwhile, of course, seeing another base down here at the top left for DJHelium here. This is good stuff. Once again, getting his economy back up like he needs to, because obviously, as he says, resources are dwindling now, and he's actually on very, very little in the way of any sort of resources there. We're just going to have a quick look at the... Oh, no, we're seeing a GG out of InZaNe. I thought for a second he might be okay, but no, actually, after that engagement down the bottom where we had most of his army took out, there wasn't really that much he could do, and that was, it was a GG, I suppose. So yeah, that was a good little game there. I quite liked the way that Helium kept InZaNe back for so long. He really sort of... He pressured him in like several different places at once, using his ground army and his Mutalisks separately to basically just force the Terran player to either split his army up and lose both aspects, or just focus on one and make sure that he did keep some bases alive. Now, to be honest, InZaNe did a pretty good job of that. He was, he kept this base up for as long as he could. He got all these other bases around here mined out. Like, he was doing a good job in that respect. And this, I mean, this base, for example, just didn't really feel any pressure whatsoever. It was very strong in that respect. But unfortunately, it just wasn't quite enough to get past the massive number of Ultralisks of DJHelium here, as he was just able. I mean, frankly, at the end, he could have just pushed in, I think, because there just was nothing left there for InZaNe, as Helium just completely took out InZaNe's army, and now with his last mining base here that was probably about to fall to some sort of push, I think basically InZaNe had just had enough and felt the need to get out of the game. So, well, thanks once again for watching. This has been episode 18 of CasualCraft with me, RedRipz, your Dreadlock caster, and I'll hopefully be back once again at the start of next week for a few more episodes. Now, I'm actually away from next Wednesday, so there probably won't be a cast for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and probably the next Monday I'll miss as well, just because I'm away at a music festival for the weekend. But for the time being, I'll be continuing. I'll certainly be doing ones on Monday and Tuesday. I might even try and roll out a couple of extra episodes just to make sure that I've got enough in the way of additional content and things going up on the channel there, and just keeping the ball rolling. But hopefully the quality's been a bit higher today. I've tried to speak a little bit louder and a little bit more clearly as well, because I got some complaints about the sound on the last video. But I've upped the bit rate. I've also widened the video again now, so it should be full screenable. Without all the ridiculous black bars down the right and left hand side for your 16:9 monitors there. And yeah, hopefully everything should be really cool. So thanks once again, GG to both players, and good night.